Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Spencer Penrod. I am a world builder who makes worlds for games and stories, D&D campaigns, things like that. Today we're jumping back into MILGRAM. Last time we watched Moo's trial, and she gave us some hints that S was not fully in control of their actions. Some interesting implications in regards to that, and then the purpose of MILGRAM overall. It has been a few days since I've recorded. I've been sick, so I don't remember a ton of the details, but I'll remember them as they come up in this, I think. With that said, let's just jump into it and see what we learn here in Shidou's trial, his interrogation, and his music video.
待たせたな。囚人番号5番、シド。
いいえ、ご苦労様です、S 君。
さてシド、尋問を始めよ
う。はい、どうぞ。
さて、ミルグラムはお前たち囚人の罪を明らかにし、適切な判断を下すために存在している。そのために僕といくつか話をしよ
う。よろしくお願いします。
尋問といっても現段階では手荒な真似をするつもりはない。また虚偽も黙秘も認めている。
なるほど。言いたくないことは言わないかもしれませんが、嘘はつかないつもりです。
シド、ミルグラムの生活はどうだ？環境への不満や囚人間での問題は発生していないか？
特に何の不自由もなく、囚人同士も特に問題は起きていませんね。S 君の管理の賜物ではないでしょうか。大したものです。
It's weird how polite and deferential he's being. This was the first, older guy we had, right? I think he was late 20s, if I'm remembering things correctly. So I wonder if this is just meant to reflect him having work experience and this is how he talks to people, or if he is just a polite person in general. In either case, it doesn't feel very genuine. He's being really polite, really deferential, but probably just because he doesn't want to make his situation worse, rather than because he actually is very fond of us or his situation.
いや、ちょっと待てシド。
はい、何でしょ
う。これは僕が間違っているのは分かっているんだが、今までに比べてスムーズに進行しすぎていて、なんだかちょっと気持ちが悪い。
そんなことを言われましても。
シド、お前はミルグラムに対しての疑問はないのか？
そうですね。もちろんここは明らかにおかしい。建築様式も使われ。
Okay, so this is the first hint we're getting at what it actually looks like here, other than S's music video, I guess, which is a little hard to take at face value. So to say the architectural style and written script are things he's never seen before, I mean, we could say that he's just ignorant of something taking place in the real world. I don't think I could recognize every written script or architectural style in the world. But for someone to note that, they've got to be fairly well versed in that thing for it to be at the front of their mind. So it's reasonable to assume that MILGRAM really does just use something kind of alien to Earth here in terms of design and language. And in that case, I wonder if that explains some of, or maybe not explains, but goes hand in hand with how it seems to be technologically more advanced than Earth, with the ability to extract magic, the or sorry, extract memories, the kind of magical barrier that protects S, the talking jackalope, things that just don't make sense in our understanding of Earth. It seems like it's trying to distance itself from Earth here, rather than say this is something that exists on Earth. It's something that is meant to be alien, maybe literally alien like outer space, but alien at the very least as in different from what normally exists.
ている文字も見たことがないものだ。夢や幻を見ているという方が納得できます。しかし、それにしては意識は生命。脈も正常値の範囲。幻覚症状と見られるようなものもない。その説は俺の中では薄い。
ほう。
あとは死後の世界ですでにここが地獄であるという線を除くとすると、ここは現実。俺自体は正常で異常な場所にいる。理由もからくりも分かりませんが、現実逃避していても仕方がないでしょ
う。冷静だな。
それは正確ですね。単純に悪くないと思っているんですよ、ここのことを。
ミルグラムを。
ここは俺を殺してくれる。
何？
せっかくの機会ですし、単刀直入に言います。S 君、君が囚人の処遇を決めているんでしょ？
ああ、そうだな。
俺は死刑を希望しています。よろしく。
認めん。お前たちが自分の処置を決めることはできない。それは監視たる僕だけに与えられている権利だ。
ですからその権利を有している看守の S 君にお願いをしているんです。
お前が自分の罪に対して反省と後悔をし、極刑を望んでいるというのは受け取った。参考にしよう。
The maximum penalty we have to offer stands out to me. Obviously, the death penalty is very severe. No going back from that. And it's not surprising that that's the max penalty that they have, but it's notable to me, at least, that they can't do more than that. We've seen some things that are either magic or technology advanced enough to be magic. And with them being able to alter memories, it's possible that they could extract someone's consciousness even. So it seems like there could be doors open to harsher penalties. We haven't seen any severely concrete hints towards that, but it was potentially on the table. This seems to say that no, it's not. It's off the table. Nothing worse than death, which is good. Death is bad enough. So it's good we're not having some kind of like mind imprisonment torture on the table. But it's notable to me, at least, to confirm that.
僕はその態度を考慮し、考えるだけだ。もちろん、そういうアピールを見せているだけという可能性も残したままな。
S 君とミルグラムの目的が何かは分かりません。心から歌と映像を取り出し、罪を判断すると言っていましたね。
ああ、それがどうした？
そんなまだるっこしい真似をする必要はないんですよ。正しい罰を与えたいなら、さっさと俺を殺せば済む話ですよ。
しつこいぞ、シド。立場をわきまえろ。
聞いてください、S 君。俺は人を殺しています。それも大量に。利己的な理由でも殺しているし、正真正銘の立派な殺人者です。許す理由もないし、許されたいとも思っていない。
わからんやつだな。
So he's the second person to just come out and say that he has killed someone. He's saying lots of people. Maybe the third person if you count Haruka, but I don't trust his interpretation of himself. So he seems, Shidou, that is, seems really composed, like he doesn't want to alter the truth. He's fine just looking at reality as it is. So it's hard to doubt him when he says that he's killed lots of people. But I do wonder about what the details are. Like, it's strange for him to say he's killed lots of people for selfish reasons, but also that he deserves the death penalty and is glad to have the chance to receive it and be judged. You'd think someone who repeatedly kills people for selfish reasons wouldn't have a problem, wouldn't have a problem twisting the truth or lying even to themselves and saying that they're innocent, or they don't deserve the death penalty, or they want to live. Like, his actions don't speak of someone that's a selfish, cold murderer. So it makes me wonder if he's being too hard on himself and the details of these deaths aren't directly his fault, like he's implying, or if he's just had a change of heart since going on his murder spree.
お前は
そうでなければ、俺に殺された人間もその家族も納得しないでしょう。
知ったことか。僕は被害者の味方というわけでもなければ家族でもない。そもそも僕が決めるのは許すか許さないかだけだ。その後の刑の内容までは知らん。
そうなんですか。S 君も知らないことが多いんですね。
お前らのその後のことを知ることで許すかどうかをフラットに判断できなくなるのを避けるためのものだと理解しているがな。
That seems like faulty logic. That S needs to avoid knowing what might happen in order to prevent it from clouding their judgment. Like, it seems like that would be extremely relevant. Like, if you were to ask me whether I forgive a kid for stealing a candy bar from the store, I feel like it would be really relevant to know that afterwards they would get like a slap on the wrist or be executed. Like, in one case, if they get like scolded and lectured about punishment, if I don't forgive them, then it sounds reasonable to not forgive them because they like committed a crime. Sure, it was harmless and maybe they have reflected on it, but like the punishment fits the crime. And knowing that lets me make a more accurate judgment. Whereas if they were to be executed, there's no way I would do anything but forgive them, because even if they were unrepentant about it and were like, I'm going to go steal another candy bar right after this, it's not worth killing them over. So to say that knowledge of the consequence would prevent S from making the correct judgment sounds like propaganda to me. I don't know who would have told them that, but that's what it sounds like. If only, like, maybe it's just a justification they're thinking of to convince themselves, but it doesn't sound very convincing to me, at least. It sounds like the thinking of someone trapped in brainwashing.
しかし、ここからは死の匂いがします。きっとミルグラムの行き着く先には。
I wonder if he's being literal that it smells like the dead, because everyone else has seemed to be kind of favorable of the facilities here. But if there was a permanent smell of death lurking around, I feel like it would be hard to be comfortable. So I think this is metaphorical. But technically we haven't heard anything about the smell of this place yet. And so maybe it does actually smell like decomposing bodies or something.
何かしらの死が待っています。
死の匂い。
ええ。経験上なんとなくわかるんです。 死の匂いが充満している場所。
そうなのか。どちらにせよミルグラムは三神性だ。じっくり許す許さないを判断させてもらう。お前が許されたくないと願おうと、僕が許すべきと判断すれば遠慮なく許させてもらう。
三神性ね。長すぎますね。早く行かせてもらいたいものなのですが。
お前の都合など知るか。ルールに文句を言うな。
三神性ということは、例えば俺が一審で許されず控訴をしなければその場で処遇が決まるのでは。
それは日本法の三神性だ。ミルグラムのものとは違う。一旦そこら辺の常識を捨てろ。そもそも日本で言えば監獄法の廃止に伴い。
What is this saying? Those people serving a sentence. This sounds like the law didn't change anything except the name. Is that right? I feel like I'm missing context here to understand this.
監獄自体存在していないはずだ。どうした？目を丸くして。
あ、いや、子供なのにたくさん勉強したのだなと思って。
おい、バカにしてるのかお前。
え？ああ、いえ、そんなことは。
ある。さっきから気になっていた。S 君 S 君と舐めた呼び方を。僕は看守だぞ。
ああ、それは理解しています。しかし君は実際に子供です。倍近く生きているであろう俺からすると。
なんだ？
君みたいな子供が。
So I think this is a conversation about honorifics. I don't speak Japanese. I just watch anime. So I've only picked up on a little bit through osmosis, but it sounds like Shidou is referring to S with kun, which is kind of how you would refer to a kid, or it's like a term of endearment. And so I think he's taking issue with that instead of being addressed in a more respectful way. But I'm not positive because it sounds like this isn't translating well.
この役割を任されていることへの同情を感じます。
はあ？
君が看守をやっている事情も理由も知りませんが、きっと苦悩もあることでしょう。頑張ってくださいね。
なるほど。なるほどな。そうかそうか。
S 君？
気安く頭を触るな！
ちょっと待ってください。
はあ、せっきり。
突然すねを蹴るのは良くない。
黙れ。お前が今までの囚人でダントツ気に入らん。悲観して知った風な口で大人ぶって冷静な顔しやがって。天津さえ僕の頭をポンポンしやがって。僕はお前の子供か？ああ？ふざけるな。
手荒な真似はしないと言いませんでしたっけ？
ケースバイケースだ。
なんという。
おいシド、何が死を望んでいるだ。バカにするなよ。必死に生きたいと願え。生への執着があるからこそ 罪に対しての罰は存在するのだ。
Okay, this is really interesting. So, first of all, S has been getting really annoyed with Shidou pleading for death, but not because he seems opposed to killing him. It's because S wants to reserve the right to decide on punishments entirely for themselves. So Shidou asking for any punishment is offensive because it infringes on S's perceived authority and almost domain. And then here we're seeing S say, our instinctive desire to stay alive is the very reason why punishments for our sins exist. To Milgram and to me, your very existence is sacrilegious. So immediately, sacrilegious stands out as a very religious word. Once again, we're seeing this very religious context to Milgram, this coloring like it is some kind of cult or religion. But what does it mean by our instinctive desire to stay alive is the very reason why punishments for our sins exist? It's as though he's saying that they're saying that that the only reason the punishments matter is because they go against the will of the person receiving them. It's not like the only punishment is death. S has said that that's the maximum punishment, so they can do other things. So it's strange to say that the desire to stay alive is why the sins exist, when death isn't the only one. And that makes it sound like the purpose of the punishments is specifically to go against desires or instinct or like the natural inclination of a person, rather than for the punishments themselves. Like normally punishments are punitive, or they are meant to like take someone out of a population to make sure they can't do more harm, or maybe they are meant to, like with really light punishments, to teach someone something or help them improve or reform themselves. But it sounds like the punishments from Milgram do none of that. It's entirely there to be uncomfortable or to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Just contrary to the nature of the person receiving it. It's supposed to be punitive, but in a really different way than the law normally works. Again, a very religious way to view things, rather than the typical punishments that deal with like someone's relationship to society or the world or anything like that.
お前の存在はミルグラムと僕への冒涜だ。
S 君、
すねを切られれば痛みがあるだろう。痛ければうめき声を上げるだろう。涙が出るだろう。
ええ。
ざまあ見ろ。お前が死にたいと嘘吹いても、その痛みはお前の肉体が死にたくないと叫んでいるのと同じだ。生きているうちはきちんと生きろ。死んだような顔をするな。そんな大人が僕を子供扱いするな。不愉快だ。以上。
なるほど。痛みがあるのは生きたい証拠だと。ですが反論させてもらうと、俺のすねの心外受容器が痛みを感受し、脊髄そして脳へ痛みの信号を伝播したというだけのただの反応に過ぎません。心外受容性疼痛と言います。
はあ？
ですから 俺が死にたいと思っていても意志に関係なく起きる出来事ですので、S 君
S seemed so proud of that argument too. But what's notable to me is this is like the second or third argument that S has used so far in this interrogation that just doesn't hold up to examination. S seems really convinced of their view of the world, but they don't seem to hold very... They seem to want to reason themselves into a viewpoint, but they don't seem to have the knowledge or experience to actually reason themselves to that viewpoint. And so S keeps making up things that sound convincing to them, but just are really hollow arguments on the surface. This is the first time that one of them has been called out, I think. But it's an interesting pattern that S has been showing, and interesting to see it finally called out like this.
の言っていることは間違いです。
大人げない。
すねを蹴られた仕返しですよ。でもね、素敵な間違いだと思います。眩しくて目を背けたくなるほど。やはり君は子供です。でもそれが俺はとても嬉しい。
シド。時間か。
歌を抽出するというやつですか。興味深いですね。俺からどのようなものが出てくるのか。
どこまでも冷静だな。言い残したことはあるか。
ああ、そうだ。他の囚人がどう思っているかは分かりませんが、俺はミルグラム自体には賛成なんです。
そうらしいな。
俺は正真正銘の殺人者です。いつ裁きが下っても構わない。ですが、できるなら法律に許さないと言われるよりも S 君みたいな子に許さないと言われたかったんです。
はあ？
この役割には同情もするし、俺の死を押し付ける申し訳なさもある。でも君がいい。俺に似合いの終わり方をくれる。
お前何を言っているんだ。そういう特殊な。
さてどうでしょうね。とにかく俺の今の目標は君に罰されることです。正しい判断を下すことを期待しています。
前提が違う。僕の判断こそが正しい。それがミルグラムだ。
じゃあ君が正しいことを期待します。
言ってろ。
俺をちゃんと許さないでくださいね、S 君。
何度も言わせるな。お前の希望など知るか。囚人番号5番シド。さあ、お前の罪を歌え。
All right. He kind of creeps me out. I don't know what kind of vibes they were meaning to portray there, but it was a little unsettling to me. With that, let's get into his video. Once again, I usually don't have much to say on these because they're so symbolic and disconnected from the world, but we'll see if I've got anything to comment on here, and I'll try and guess what his crime is and whether he should be forgiven, at least. I was wondering if I should guess it in his interrogation, but I've been thinking that he was a doctor. So it looks like I was probably right, just based on his outfit here. Just the fact that he seemed really intelligent and composed and knew the specifics of like how pain works were all things that pointed to a doctor for me. So I should have voiced that, because now I could say I knew I was right, but now it's not very convincing. Okay. Yeah, I have no idea. The things I could get from that were that he was a doctor. The flowers definitely seemed to mean something. And then this person made of flowers seems to mean something. My best guess is that so I could see two potential things here. One of them is where he's a doctor who is actually malicious and like poisoning and killing his patients on purpose. And that would definitely make him a cold-blooded killer. And just horrible, no forgiveness. But I don't think that's what's happening, because he seems to regret what he's done too much. And nothing in this made him seem malicious to me. So I don't feel like that is a good read on him. Instead, I think the more likely option is that he's a doctor who had to do something unpleasant, and that resulted in deaths of patients, and he just feels guilty about that. I don't know what it could be, though. My first guess is someone who performs abortions, but I feel like that's a little too close to, right? So I don't know if they would be treading the same ground there. And I also feel like it doesn't really fit with this image of the flowers. And also the people that we see him talking to. Like, they seem too distraught about things. I think my guess is that he is a surgeon, and he would take organs from people who were dying and give them to other people to live. And this flower person represents someone who maybe needed a few organs, or just the patients in general who get to live. And sometimes they would die, or this one case died, represented by them falling down, which made it feel like the organ donor died for nothing, and the person getting the organ died because it was rejected, and that's just really disheartening. I am not familiar enough with other kinds of operations a doctor could perform that would fit this kind of vibe. So that's going to be my guess, in which case definitely forgive, because it doesn't sound like he's actually killed anyone. It sounds like, or it seems to me like they had probably just died as a result of other things, and he was trying to make their life pay it forward. But I don't really know what else it could be. Like, my only other guess, I suppose, would be a lot more fantastical, where he's basically being Frankenstein here and collecting parts of people to build into some kind of abomination that then died. But I feel like we generally see Earth being pretty grounded in MILGRAM, except for MILGRAM itself. So that doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, I just really am not sure. I'm going to go ahead and guess. Oops, didn't mean to start that. Going to go ahead and guess that it is him harvesting organs from people who are dying to pass on, in which case I say forgive him. But I'm not very confident at all. So hopefully future rounds will help clear things up more, I guess. With that said, that's all for this time. I'll be back with more MILGRAM in the future, so subscribe if you want to see that. Otherwise, I have a Patreon where You can follow me to get early access to videos as I record them for my backlog. And if you want me to take a look at something you've made, I offer world building critiques and feedback on Ko-fi. You can find the links to both in the description. Thank you so much for watching, for liking the video, and I'll see you next time.